Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us live, drop your comments and questions for my guest or myself into the comment box, and you'll see me turn my head to check the screen and address any questions or comments you might have for my guest or myself. Today's guests, Joe Lertch and Mark Robinson, share a love for great food, great wine, and the joy of bringing people together. Co-creators of the Wine Matrix, Joe brings a long career in the wine industry and an understanding of how spices and wine work together, while Mark adds his passion for wine education, food expertise, total comfort in any kitchen, and creativity with recipes, connecting people through warm, welcoming hospitality. Together, they created and co-authored The Art of Spice and Wine Pairing, simple recipes to enjoy every day, a reference guide that blends practical wisdom with a cozy conversational tone, inviting readers to slow down, savor, and explore. Let's bring in Joe and Mark.
Hi, Dara. Nice to see you.
Hi, Dara. How are you?
Good to see you. You just informed me, everybody. Today is Beaujolais,
Nouveau.
right?
Yeah, today's
Yes.
the third Thursday of November, and that is the official release of Beaujolais Nouveau, that first harvest wine of the new year. So the grapes were just harvested back in September, early October, and the wine has been made. And this is the first release of the 2025 vintage. So there will be celebrations all over Paris, all over France, and in good parts of the United States as well tonight.
Yeah, I bet there's going to be one at your restaurant wine bar, the Vineyard Wine Bar.
There will be a big celebration here, as we do every year at the Vineyard Wine Bar. And you'll see more French berets and more striped shirts and more ladies looking like Coco Chanel. And we might even have Marie Antoinette here. It's who knows? It's a big costume party for the adults. Everybody loves to celebrate Nouveau. We've got a 5-course menu, and it's going to be a party. The wine bar will take on an ambiance of a French bistro, complete with French flags and can music playing. It's going to be a party tonight.
Wow. Let me tell everybody, if you're around Harvard Grace, for those who don't know where it is, it's in Maryland, near Elkton, near the Jersey line, Delaware line. So beautiful little town. If you're in the area, stop by, or maybe it's too late. Probably reservations are
Yeah,
full.
we're actually sold out. But people can
Oh.
come and press their nose up against the glass and look inside at all the fun. We don't discourage that.
Hang on for a second. I had a phone call coming in. I'm still trying to learn the system here. I thought I had it blocked. So we know that that's what you're doing, Mark. Are you going to be there for the celebration?
No, I'm actually not going to be. I'm going to be up in Pennsylvania, going to another Beaujolais Nouveau event that I've been invited to help promote the book.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mark's going to be
So,
working tonight. I'm going to be playing.
okay. So, how did the two of you meet? I mean, I know Joe from ages ago when we worked on Charity, Share Our Strength,
Sure.
Taste of the Nation. But how did the two of you meet and come together and sort of create the Wine Matrix, which is fabulous YouTube instructional wine, informative wine videos, which are done with great humor and great taste. How did the two of you come together?
I'll take that one. I mean, it was interesting. It was about a dozen years ago now. And actually, my next door neighbors up in Oxford, Pennsylvania said, come down. We've got this great restaurant down in Havre de Grace that you should try. And we came down. And first of all, we were impressed with not only the food, but also the quality of the wines, the availability of the wines. I mean, here at the vineyard, there's 80 wines by the glass that you can
Wow.
sample and try. So they're all good. And then so Joe and I got into a conversation, and we there was an offering to do a trip to Bordeaux, river cruise, and we teamed up with, I think there was about 24 different people on the river cruise that were all people from the Vineyard Wine Bar, patrons and friends and stuff. And we all went over, and we had 10 days in Bordeaux, just a wonderful time tasting wines and everything else. At the same time, I brought my camera along with me, and I must have taken somewhere around about, I don't know, 2,000 photographs. And I said to Joe, I play around with websites and do development of websites. Let me do one privately for everybody. So I went ahead and I did that, put it back up and published it. And that was kind of how Joe and I started, because then Joe said, "Hey, my page needs a refresh. Can you help me with that?" And we've kind of been, I'll say we see each other probably once a week now, for probably the last dozen years. And the concept of the wine matrix came along about doing short educational videos for people, have a little bit of fun, do a little bit of wine education, talk about different areas and different wines and different regions of the world. And that was how we kind of started. And that's where it kind of grew from. And then it was around about 18 months ago, Joe and I started working on the book together. Joe had already had it in a work in progress for the last 5 years. And we put the book together, and the culmination of it has really been in the last, probably the last couple of months, where everything's come together. The book's been finally printed, and and now we have the opportunity to talk to you. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
All that hard work just to talk to me. Well, I want to go back, Mark, because you have an accent. You're from Australia. What brought you to the US?
Sure. I came here in 1979. Before that, though, I was working for an organization that was multinational and worldwide, and they were based in London. So I went from Sydney to Singapore, excuse me, Sydney to Singapore, Singapore to Bahrain, Bahrain to London. Spent 4 months in London, and then came here to the US. And the original plan was just to work in the US for a couple of months, maybe a year, and then go back and work the international circuit. And I started to collect things like, houses and dogs, and then 2 wives. So, it's
Not at the same time.
not at the same time. Yeah. We're Australian. We're not Mormon. So that worked out well. As you can see, I probably have a little bit of a strange sense of humor. That's the Australian coming through.
Well, that's okay. I have a strange sense of humor, and I know Joe does too. So it's a good match.
It's a good match.
Right. And I don't know if you heard via Mark, because I filled him in the book, in the acknowledgments, you acknowledge Chef Michael Gettier here in Baltimore, who was M. Gettier, who had it in Broadway, who had it out in Towson, and worked at the Antrim. And you gave gratitude for how he opened your eyes to French food and French wines. When I mentioned this, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago. He said, you came in when you were working with Reliable Liquors to do a wine tasting of 45 bottles of wine. And he said, you pretty much got his entire wine list after that night. I don't know if that got passed on to you, but.
No, it didn't. And I haven't seen Michael or talked to him in a long time, but he's forever in my heart.
He is in California.
Wow.
Yeah. Santa Barbara, and teaching karate. And Michael, he's off on many things.
Wow.
What is it about wine that has won your heart, Joe? And also the same question to you, Mark. What is it that has grown that passion? Tell me a bit more about that.
I think that wine has a tendency to get into your blood. People have accused me of having more wine running through my system than blood. And I think that started at somewhat of a young age, and I just developed this hunger to want to learn more. I mean, it's like all types of different food. Wine is food. So when you realize how many different grapes there are available and how many different wines there are available, and all their different nuances and what they contribute to a meal, it's just it's non-ending. It's just there's no end to it. It's unbelievable. And I wanted to learn as much as I could. And back at that time, there weren't really any classes that you could take. Nothing was being taught. There was no classes being taught at a local university or college, and no one really was doing anything. So I pretty much taught myself by spending my paycheck in the local wine shops, buying books, and then buying wine. And I would just study and study and study, and then taste the wines and start to understand the geography and the terroir and what different grapes did better in different places. And I started to get an education. And a turning point came in my life at a young age. I had pretty much exhausted all of the books in the local stores and all of the wine in the local stores, and I started finding out about uh, larger wine shops out of the area where you'd have to drive to in more larger cities. And one particular store I'd heard about, and I decided this one day I was going to take a drive up there and take a look and see what they have. And I happened by just some strange coincidence to catch them on a day when they were doing a private tasting. And the door was closed, and the sign on the door said private tasting. And here I was, dressed nice. I've always tried to wear a sports coat and always tried to dress apart. And as I walked up the stairs, as I was reading the sign, the door opened up. They looked at me and must have felt that I belonged there because I looked the part. And they said, "Come on in." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." And I walked in, and they handed me a glass, and the room was laid out. There was a area over here with wine and an area over there with wine. And I started to get the layout of the land. And in that process, I saw three older gentlemen standing off in the corner, and they were swirling their glasses and smelling and making all kinds of groans and noises and talking all these words. And I thought to myself, as a young age, I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to learn a lot from these guys. These guys are using all this crazy wine vocabulary. So I kind of like started inching myself over, and I didn't want to intrude, but something came up that made me ask a question. And I don't remember what it was right now, but they stopped their conversation and they looked at me, and I thought they were going to address my conversation, and they just laughed. And they looked at each other and started talking about me as I was standing there like, look, what does this stupid kid know about wine? And I was so humiliated. I'll never forget it. I never tasted a single drop of wine that day. I set my empty glass down and I walked out the door. I never tasted anything. I was so humiliated. And I got in the car and I drove up the street, and I got a stoplight, and I sat there waiting for the light to change. And it felt like it was never going to change. I felt like I was there for an eternity. And as I sat there at the light, I thought to myself, this wine stuff, this isn't for me. This is too snobby. People are too nasty. They're too arrogant. I'm going to take up tennis or badminton or bowling, or I'm going to do something else. And I waited for this light, and I'm like, damn it, light, will you change? And it just made me sit there. And something came over me and said, you know what? You've never quit before. You're not going to quit now. You're going to continue to learn, continue to study. You're going to gain more knowledge than anyone you'll ever come in contact with, and no one will ever put you in this situation again. And when you gain that knowledge, you're going to share it with anybody that wants to listen, and you're going to help people to learn about wine and appreciate wine. That stayed with me pretty much my whole life, and that's kind of the basis for how the Wine Matrix came together. We want to share the knowledge we have and take that pretentiousness, that arrogance out of wine. Let people know there's a lot of different grapes out there, a lot of different wines, and we're trying to do what we can to share that knowledge with everyone so they can enjoy wine and they can enjoy food, and which in turn helps you to enjoy life, right?
Right. Well, Mark, questions on to you.
Yeah.
Why wine?
Yeah, why wine? I mean, my story is is not as complicated as Joe's. I mean, from the aspect of what happened to him, particularly from an experience standpoint. Mine has always been around the fact that I've enjoyed wine. In Australia, I mean, Australia has some very good wineries and very good vineyards. From the Barossa Valley in South Australia all the way through up into the area of New South Wales, even Victoria. And now you certainly in Western Australia, you've got some great wines. So my passion for wine came about for, I'll say, a number of different reasons. Because of the job that I had, I was in sales. So I was entertaining customers. And when you entertain customers, inevitably you're going to be sitting down at the table, and the maitre d' will hand you the wine list. And it's your job to be able to choose the wine that is best suited for the meal, best suited for the company, and best suited for the food that you're going to enjoy.
All right.
So I started to be able to understand wine, not so much from its complexity, but more so from the aspect of what it needed to be with. In other words, what kind of food were you having, what kind of wine would go with that. And that's kind of how I grew into that. And I say I grew into it through the process of reading and understanding as well. The other side is that by being able to know Joe and sit and do the wine education that Joe does here at the Vineyard Wine Bar, it also now opened my eyes to a lot more different opportunities for different flavor profiles, different flavor combinations that I had never explored before. So I would say that although I knew a little bit about wine a dozen years ago, now having known Joe for a dozen years, I've certainly expanded my horizons and expanded my palate, believe it or not. And I think that's the best part about wine is that there are so many different wines, different grape varietals from every region in the world. And you should never, ever limit yourself to say, oh, I only drink white wine or I only drink red wine. I think you should have the opportunity to be able to taste wines and enjoy them from anywhere and
Right.
from any region.
Right. So wine is really an avocation that's now becoming more a vocation.
Yes, I would say that's true.
Yeah. And you mentioned that the genesis of the book was about 5 years ago. And I think, Joe, your concept was in the book, The Art of Spice and Wine Pairing, is the spice, that the spice will reflect what you need to do with the bottle of wine that you choose. And in the book, this is first of its kind. You're pairing spice with wine, but you're doing recipes that are covering vegetarian, seafood, poultry, meat, dessert categories under, let's say, cumin. You would have a recipe for each. And why did you go this route?
Well, Dara, what happened is in having the wine bar, which we also have a unique license that enables us to sell retail bottles as well. So people come in, they taste a glass of wine, they say, "Wow, this is delicious. Where can I get this?" Well, you can buy it right here, retail. We have a little store attached to the restaurant. And with that being said, I would get customers that came in on a regular basis, and they would say, "Hey, we're celebrating our blank anniversary this weekend. It's my husband's birthday, my wife's birthday. We got the bosses coming over. We got company coming in. We got a promotion gathering around it, whatever it might end up. We got a festive occasion coming around. I'm making dinner. I need wine to go with that dinner." And I'd say, "Great. What are you making?" And they'd say, "I'm making, as an example, chicken. I'm making salmon, whatever it might be." And I'd say, "Well, that's great. Because right now I can think of about 40 different wines that are going to go with your chicken and 40 different wines that are going to go with your salmon. So help me out. Let's narrow this down. Are you baking it, broiling it, poaching it, air frying it? What kind of spices are you using? What are you doing it? How are you preparing it?" And once I got the recipe, they'd say, "Yeah, well, we're going to do this." And they'd walk in with recipes in hand, actually reading the recipe to me. And I'd take a look at it and I would process that and I would pick them out a bottle of wine that I thought would work well with their dinner. And then down the road they go. Well, they come back like 2 days later telling me that this is the best wine pairing and matching they've ever had in their life, and they can't wait to do it again. And so this started opening up their eyes. So realize that I can't be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there are times when I'm not here and customers would come in and they'd say, hey, I got this meal I'm putting together. Where's Joe? I need him to pick out the wine. And they'd be like, well, Joe's not here right now. Like, oh my God, when's he going to be back? I need him to get the wine.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I would hear this from my servers and my managers, and I'd say, okay, guys, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you a reference book that's about spices and wine. And I'm going to keep that here. I'll find that on Amazon, or I'll find it on Barnes and Noble, but I'll get that book. I'll keep a copy of it here, and then you guys can have that to refer to when I'm not around. Dara, the only problem was there weren't any books. I couldn't find a book on spice, and there's a million books on food and wine and food and recipes and cookbooks and this and that and everything, but there's no books on spice and wine. And it's so important because, you know, the old adage is white wine with fish and red wine with meat. That doesn't work. Spices are what make the difference. That's what really puts it all together. So when I couldn't find a book, I started writing notes down, and I started putting basic spices that you would find in a normal household. You know, the average things, you pull open a cupboard and you're going to have these spices in there. And so I started marking them down, and I started marking down the wines that go with those spices. And I was leaving it as a reference tool for the staff. Little did I know that after I did all this, 5 years later, it would turn into a reference book. And from there, we started talking about spices and their nuances. And then I incorporated a chapter on white wines. I can't tell you how many people walk in here mispronouncing wine grapes, Tempranillo, Merlot. I mean, just to mention a couple, right? So I thought, how cool would it be to do a chapter on white wines and white wine grapes of the world, what country they originate in, what countries they grow in, how to pronounce them phonetically, and what their flavor components are and what spices they go with. And so then I put a chapter together on white wine grapes and white wines. And then I did the same thing on red and red wine grapes. And so the book started getting larger and larger and larger. And then I, you know, along the way, I'm, you know, Mark being my co-Matrix founder, I brought him in and I said, hey, what do you think about this? He says, this is cool. Let's do some spices. And I'm like, well, he in the kitchen is a pretty amazing guy. So, you know, I said, let's take a look at this. And Mark started putting spices together, and we started cross-referencing everything. So we got a chapter on spices that you'll find, and we got a chapter on white wines and red wines, and then the chapter on recipes. And to your point, there are 5 recipes with each spice. So the first spice listed in the book is allspice. When you get to the recipe section, there's a soup with allspice, there's a vegetarian with allspice, a poultry, a seafood, a beef, a dessert. And then you move into the next spice, which is basil, and it repeats. And then you move into the next spice, which is cinnamon, and it repeats, and so on and so forth throughout the book. So this really it's a great reference tool that we feel, well, we've had we had chefs look at it, and chefs have said to us, we want this for our kitchen. We want this for our line cooks. Every house, if you cook or if you even like to eat food, this is a reference book you need. It's not a novel that you read and then give away to someone else. It's a book that you refer to multiple times a day when you're preparing something. And so we've got restaurants that want them for their chefs, home cooks that want them, the Christmas presents. My God, I can't tell you how many books we've sold this past week. People have thanked us and have said, thank you. You just did all my Christmas shopping. You've just done all my holiday shopping. So it's a great reference tool, and there's nothing like it on the marketplace. And we are just so proud of it and so excited about it. And no longer will you walk into a retail store or a restaurant mispronouncing grapes, because it's all right here. You're going to sound like a wine authority walking into these places, because phonetically we tell you how to do that.
Right. And Mark,
yes,
these recipes are simple.
They are. Yeah, no, they were designed to be to be, if you came home from work and you said, oh, I just bought some chicken from the store and I've got some chipotle spice. Let's do a chipotle chicken tonight. Oh, by the way, we've got a great bottle of Pinot Noir to go with it. So now you're involving the family, you're involving people in the kitchen. Whereas really, that's what it's about, is to be able to bring people together to enjoy the food, enjoy the wine, enjoy each other's company, sit down and have a conversation, turn off the TV, put the cell phone away in the corner, and begin to get back. I don't say the basics, because certainly that's not the truth. I get back to the enjoyment of being around people, of being around each other. And these recipes are not complicated. Most of them you can do in 30, 40 minutes, maximum. Some of the braising recipes with the stews take a little bit longer, but that just gives you an opportunity to open up another bottle of wine and enjoy
that. You were kind enough. There was a free brochure that you had. I'm not sure if we have that link. We have the link to the wine matrix that's come up in the comments, a link to where to purchase the book. And you donated a recipe for ribollita.
Yes.
Which, for those who don't know, it's a Tuscan soup. And I looked at it and I went, this is very doable. It's a soup that I fell in love with. I was in Florence. I went to El Latini, and they just put it in front of you. You didn't order. They just put it in front of you.
Yep.
And in the summertime, it's room temperature. It's warm. I came home. I've made it before. And just to let people know, there will be a link with this video to that recipe. I reached out ahead of time, and you were kind enough to send recipes, but it's sort of too late to tie it in. But we're, Thanksgiving's a week away. People were making turkey.
Yep.
And people said, there's no good wine to go with turkey. There are.
I'm going to defer that to Joe, because I could tell you right now that if you said we're doing turkey, we've brined the turkey, we've gone ahead and we've stuffed it under the skin with some herbs like sage or some rosemary. And, and then now I'm going to let Joe come in and say, how are we going to do this, Joe? What kind of wine are we going to have with that turkey?
So whenever I look at a Thanksgiving table, there's never one food item on there. There's a dozen or more food items, right? So I like to take a look at it and say, okay, well, we don't need a dozen different wines, although that's a lot of fun. If you've got a lot of people over to have a dozen wines, that's a lot of fun. But if you don't want a dozen wines on your table and you're only looking at 2 or 3 wines, wines that go great with just about everything on the Thanksgiving table is a dry Riesling. That works with just the acidity in a dry Riesling works so well with so many different items on the table. A dry Gewürztraminer. And I'm talking dry now. Gewürztraminers and Rieslings both come in a dry fashion. They come in a semi-dry fashion. They come in a sweet fashion. But get the drier versions. Get a dry Riesling. Get a dry Gewürztraminer. They work so perfectly together. They work well. Chenin Blanc is another grape that works really, really well with everything on the Thanksgiving table. When it comes to reds, you can't beat a Zinfandel. You can't beat a red Zinfandel, a nice hearty red Zinfandel. I've often said that you can stick me in the corner with a bowl of spicy stuffing and a bottle of Zinfandel, and I will just be like a content little kid. I won't bother anybody. I'll be there just the rest of the day and night. Just stick me in there. But red Zinfandel works great together. We mentioned Beaujolais Nouveau at the start of our session. And Gamay grape, the Beaujolais grape in general, works well. Pinot Noir works well. So they're some of my favorites that I love to have and will have on the Thanksgiving table, along with a lot of other things too. But they're good basics.
Yeah, a lot of people would should know that a Chenin Blanc is really more. It's often referred to as an unoaked Chardonnay. So people would get that taste as well if they walk into the store and the proprietor may say, "Oh, I've got an unoaked Chardonnay." It's a Chenin Blanc.
That's a good one with it. Well, I just want to remind people thewinematrix.com, and there you'll have links. You'll see more about the art of spice and wine pairing and simple recipes to enjoy every day. So go to thewinematrix.com. If you're in Havre de Grace, make a reservation at the Vineyard Wine Bar. If you can't stop and eat, at least go in and buy a bottle or two. Speak Joe, probably get the best bottles you've ever had before. And the book, the recipe for Ribollita, is coming up.
The book?
The book, yes. Great, terrific. That's what you need to do. That's what and if I'm remembering, this is sort of book number 1. There's still other spices
Yes.
to come and other recipes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not to put too much work on ourselves, but obviously with the launch of this book, we've already started talking the concepts for books 2 and books 3. Book 2, particularly from a spice pairing standpoint, will be a little bit more complicated from the aspect of we're going to be talking about how to create your own sauces, how to create and make your own stocks, which I think is going to elevate the dishes and elevate the learning for people as well, where you can start with this book and you can certainly go into the second book without any issue whatsoever. Joe has come up with a concept for a third book, and I'll let you take that one.
Well, we're going to shelve that right now because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag on that. But the third book's going to be a lot of fun. And the second book's going to be a lot of fun because what we did in the first book was to take what I had referred to are pretty much common everyday spices that we find in our kitchen. The next book is going to give us an advanced course on spices, some more exotic spices that you might have to buy online or find in a specialty store. Still great recipes, as Mark alluded to, sauces and things of that nature. But we're going to basically say, hey, now that you've got a good feel for the first book and you've mastered some of these recipes, now we're going to educate you to another level and kind of bring you up to like a master's program now. So that's a lot of fun. We'll be releasing that probably next year, and that'll be a companion to the first book. And then the third book is in the works. It's been in the works for probably just a little over a year at this point in time. And what goes with wine?
Food.
Cheese.
Oh, cheese.
So
well, cheese is food.
So to give you
yes.
Let the cat out of the bag just a little bit, we will be covering all of the major cheeses from countries all over the world, where they come from, how they originate, how to pronounce them. And I don't want to let too much information out right now, but of course the wines that work with them and go with them as well. So, so we want to educate. We want to be able to help people enjoy life, and we're having a great time doing it.
And on that note, if you are up in the Havre de Grace area or surrounding area, you do wine classes on a regular basis.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it's year round.
I do. We take off December is the only month we don't do them. But the program is, if you were to do it in its entirety, it's going to take you 2 years. And the beauty of it all is that you can plug yourself in and out whenever you want. I do it pretty much in the middle of the month each month on a Wednesday and a Thursday night, back to back, the same class. And I started doing them just on a Wednesday night. And I got a lot of people say to me, we can't make a Wednesday, will you do Thursday? And I started doing Thursday, and classes sell out usually in about an hour and a half after I announce them. And we delve into the different countries of the world, the different regions of the world, and people get to understand the history, the topography, the geography, what grapes grow there. They get to taste usually 10 to 12 bottles of wine from that area. And then we move on to the next area. So as an example, we start the year out with France, and it takes us 4 months to get just through France because we cover different regions in France. And then we move into 3 regions of Italy and 2 regions of Spain and a region of Portugal, and around the world we go. And 2 years later, the course is over. We start over again, new wines, different thought processes. And the classes are very popular. People really love them. They sell out fast, and we help them to try to gain a knowledge and understand that there's more out there than Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
Right.
if anybody wants to go online to vineyardwinebar.com and sign up onto the email list, they're more than welcome to do that. And we'll make sure that when we send it out, that they'll be receiving some information. So vineyardwinebar.com.
Right. And the Vineyard Wine Bar, you have the Dorona 2025 Award of Excellence
Wow.
and the consecutive Wine Spectator Award of Excellence from 2012 through 2024. I guess they haven't awarded 2025 as yet. We're not over.
Dara, yes. Actually, we have 25. It's sitting in the office. I'm trying to find room on the walls for another award. And the staff laughs about that because we've got awards from all kinds of publications and Best of Baltimore and a variety of things. And we do have a 2025 Spectator Award of Excellence that will end up on the wall. I promise before the year ends. Before 25 ends, I'll find a spot for that on the wall also. And we did get a Dorona, which a lot of people don't know about. And there are 5 restaurants in the state of Maryland that have a 2025 Dorona. And we are just absolutely honored and thrilled to be recognized as one of the 5 distinguished restaurants of North America, Dorona.
Time for my final questions. I'll throw it out. You can answer either or. Your ultimate culinary fail.
I would say the first time I ever tried to do a bechamel sauce, I burnt the flour so badly that it made the whole house stink. It smelled like tripe was cooking in the kitchen.
That's pretty bad.
I'm going to throw mine out because I was probably about 10. Your mistake always involves burning something, right? So at about 10 years old, maybe I was 9, I decided that I was going to make breakfast for my parents. And I was going to do sunny side up eggs. And I got out this big, heavy iron frying pan, and I watched my mother put butter in it. And I burnt the eggs so bad that the house was full of smoke. Thank God they were sleeping. I opened all the windows and the doors. I was too embarrassed to throw it in the trash can. So I took it out back and I dumped it in our evergreen bush, thinking that they'd never find it. That was mine.
Okay, but you got the pan clean.
I got the pan cleaned, and I somehow or another, I guess, was able to make breakfast. I don't remember after dumping the eggs in the evergreen bush. I don't remember much beyond that.
All right, question number 2. If you wake up tomorrow morning with a new talent, what would it be?
To be taller and more handsome.
But don't take away the sense of humor.
Yeah. I think when I stood in the line, I didn't get the height gene. I got the sense of humor gene. So yeah, to be taller and more handsome, that would be my new talent.
Okay.
Oh, well. I think I'd want to be a race car driver. I'd want to be a Formula One race car driver.
Okay. But there's no drinking and driving.
Yeah, I'd have to figure that out.
If you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say embrace travel. Travel as much as you can. Learn about culture. Learn about peoples. Learn about different countries of the world. It's a great equalizer. It takes away hate. It takes away bigotry. It takes away racism because you have to learn and understand people very quickly. So I would advise anyone, any younger person, travel as much as you can.
I would say find something that you really enjoy doing. And if someone says to you or someone's say to you, you're never going to be good at that, don't listen to that. Find something you enjoy doing, go at it with gusto, learn as much as you can about it, put your heart and soul into it, and you'll never work a day in your life if you really enjoy what you do. I love what I do. People ask me, when are you going to retire? I'm like, I never. I love what I do. Enjoy what you do, and you'll love it, and you'll never work a day in your life.
All right. Best bite you've had all week.
I would say We made an 11 bean soup at home on Sunday evening, and we just finished the last of it last night. So I thought it was really good. It tasted better after it aged for a couple of days. But it was an 11 bean soup done with some kibasi and chicken. So it was very nice.
I did Brazilian ribeye the other night along with a caprese salad, but I didn't use mozzarella. I used goat cheese in balsamic glaze. And then I also did some herbs de Provence roasted potatoes. That's the best thing I've had this week.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good to me. Both of them. What are two musts that must be in the refrigerator?
Ooh.
And you
Cheese and
can't say
champagne.
wine.
I was getting champagne.
Yeah.
Cheese and champagne.
Yeah. You're taking wine away from me. I was going to say, let me see. I would say creme fraiche and balsamic vinegar. You can always do something with those two.
Great. All right. What haven't I asked you that I probably should have?
Well, I suppose a couple of things. On the book, it's available online at thewinematrix.com. It's a hardcover book. We feel like it's a great opportunity to be able for people to learn about spices and wine pairing. $44.95, great Christmas gift or a Hanukkah gift. I think it would be good for anybody. It's a coffee table book as well as a book that you can put in your kitchen.
Actually, I want to add to that too. I think it's a book that you can turn down, hand down. Like I mentioned earlier, you read a novel, you read it one time, you put it away, you're done. This is a book that you're going to refer to because it's a reference book. You can refer to it on a daily basis, if not multiple times a day. But I think it's also a book that you can hand down. It's never going to go out of style. It's never going to go old. The spices are going to remain, the wines are going to remain, the recipes are going to remain, and you can hand it down from one generation to another. It's never going to lose its appeal.
Well, I guess that's a wrap for right now, guys. It's been a pleasure. And what can I say? It's just a joy to catch up with you again, Joe, and with you, Mark, to finally chat with you and wish you the best of the holiday season.
Thank you, Dara.
And I have a couple of announcements to make. So thank you so much for joining us. And hurry up, put that beret on, and let's get the Beaujolais flowing.
Thank you, Dara. Great to see you.
So
stay
much.
well, stay happy and healthy. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for the opportunity. Bye-bye now.
Okay, everyone. After we all have enjoyed our Thanksgiving, I will be back the following week with my guest, Tim Recker, WCMC, CEC, AAC, the Director of Culinary Operations at the Club at Mediterra in Naples, Florida, where he leads one of the nation's premier private club culinary program. A world certified master chef, certified executive chef, and fellow of the American Academy of Chefs, Chef Recker's career reflects a lifelong dedication to craftsmanship and mentorship. Chef Recker has proudly represented the United States on the world stage as two-time member of the U.S. National Culinary Olympic Team, a competitor in the Global Chefs Challenge World Championship, and a certified culinary competition judge. If you need to reach me, you can find me on Instagram at Dara Cooks, or on Facebook, I have a page, The Food Enthusiast. You can also find the videos jmoreliving.com under the menu under food. You will find The Food Enthusiast there. And all the shows are there, so you can go back and look at those. And there's also a link there that you can sign up for a free bi-monthly food newsletter with recipes, what's going on in the area and restaurants, and videos of past shows. All shows are immediately archived in video form on Jmore Living's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. We truly appreciate it when you share our show with friends and family. Feel free to go back into our archives and enjoy past shows. May your plates always,